Imagine life without watching YouTube or television or listening to music. Well, through a lot of history, those things weren't invented. So let's take a look at some of those first inventions that gave us entertainment.
Some say that the first form of entertainment was in the theatre, and the first reference we have of this is from Athens in 534 BCE. There was a person called Thespis, and he was an actor and the first person to write a play, and that's why modern theatre actors call themselves thespians.
Other entertainment would have been board games like the royal game of or Ur, which would have been played in Mesopotamia 5,000 years ago. So it's the oldest board game anyone's ever found. Or the first, more commercial, mass-produced board game was actually called the Game of the Goose, and it came from Spain between 1574 and 1587.
The oldest instrument to be found was used by the Neanderthals, so it was nearly 60,000 years old. It was a little flute carved from the bones of a bear.
The first time we have entertainment technology actually came in 1877 when Thomas Edison invented the phonograph that allowed you to record and play back different sounds.
In 1925, the first ever image was broadcast to TV. The mechanical TV system was created by John Logie Baird, and he broadcast the image of a ventriloquist puppet which he named Stooky Bill. And this was because the lights in the studio were really hot and it was too much for a human to sit under those lights, so he used a ventriloquist dummy. By 1969, over 54 million Americans had TV.
The first public screening of a film was in 1859 when the Lumiere brothers played 10 of their short films to a paying audience. Of course, films have changed a lot since then. The first ones did not have any special effects, they were in black and white and they had no sound.
We're counting leisure and fun activities in this video, so did you know that the first ever public swimming pool opened in 1815 in Bath? Technically, the Romans had built their own baths in ancient times, but the baths are slightly different to the swimming pools we know today.
Thomas Cook and Son was the first travel or holiday company, starting in 1841, and their first trip was from Leicester to Loughborough.
The first time the public were given a bank holiday, which is a day where everyone's supposed to be off work, was after the Bank Holiday Acts of 1871. This entitled people to have Easter Monday, Whit Monday, the first Monday of August, and Boxing Day off work. Before this, people were only allowed to be off work for things like religious holidays, like Christmas.
The earliest record of a fun fair with a sort of fairground ride comes from the 1700s, and they would have just been wooden and pushed along. But then in the 1800s, we have the steam engine introduced, so we start to have more mechanical rides.
The first food regarded as junk food was actually first seen at the Chicago World Fair in 1893. It's called Cracker Jack, and it was basically a gloop of caramel, some popcorn, some peanuts, and some molasses. Sounds tasty and a great fun fair food.
The creation of fast food restaurants is also important for this video because it shows a time when people had a little bit more money and were maybe in a bit of a rush so they could get food on the go. And you might think the first fast food restaurant was McDonald's, but it's actually a place called White Castle from Kansas in 1916, and they were the ones to sell the first really cheap hamburgers.
Sports entertainments began in the 1950s. Of course, the Olympics have been around for longer, but the first time that it was more theatrical and had a wider audience was in the 1980s. And since then, sport has become a huge source of entertainment for people all over the world.
What's a form of entertainment or a leisure activity that you like to do that we've left off of our list? While you have a think about that and maybe how it's changed through time, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to know more about innovators from history, then head over to our website. We'll see you next time. Bye!